よいしょ。ボンジョルノ。
This is
さあ、やってみます。なんだっけ、これ。どういうゲームかね、俺もあんまりよく知らないんだよね。クリッ
this
ク
is
する
the
とスキッ
story
プし
of a
ます。
man named Stanley.
サンディって男の名前の、男の物語か。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his
はいはい。
desk in room 427 and he pushed
はい、
buttons.
キーボードのボタンを押すだけです。
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and
なる
in
ほど。
what order. This is what employee 427
何
did
ヶ月も何
every
年も。
day of every month of every year. And
あ、
although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
サンディは幸せだったんだ。
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or
なる
even
ほど。
say
人が誰もいないってこと
goodbye.
わ、
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
操作できるのもうこれ、感高っ。FPS ゲーマーあるある。まず感度を調整。すごい、大まかにしなかった。生きた、これは。OK。こっちも高えわ。ゼロなんか変わんねえじゃねえか。え、まあいいわ。右クリ前進なの。なるほど。何かがあるわけじゃないんだ。左クリックを押すとなんかカチャカチャ言う。お、
All of his co-workers were gone.
どうしました。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
会議室。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
伝言を見落としたんだよ。会議室どこだと思ったんだけど。
No matter how hard Stanley looked,
お、
he couldn't find a trace of
俺
his
探してるってこと
co-workers.
俺今。同僚を。鉛筆削りあるやん。
Stanley went around touching every little
待って、
thing in
触って
the
回り、
office, but it didn't
は
make
あ
a single difference.
すごくない
Nor did it advance the
俺が
story in
今やってること
any
実
way.
況されてんだけど、なんか。
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort.
は
A measly 5
あ、チップ。
clicks.
え
Now suppose you were to click the door 20
はい、
times.
20度ク
I
リッ
would say
ク。
that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
20回やれってことやらないね。違うどうだろう。ダメだ。このドアじゃなくて許さないもしかして。
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
ああ、50回しろってさ。なんか、尺だな。50回しろって言われてやるのが尺じゃない？50回だけか。次もやんねえ。俺は決めた。この50クリックだけやって、はい。
I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a
うん。
true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I
う
want
ん。
to see commitment, a
めっちゃ怒っ
willingness
て
to
ない？
go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
417ドアに。嫌だね。何も積まないかな。これはこの通りやんないと。ダメか。なんかありそうじゃない？すまないな。諦めていっか、417。これ部屋があるんだ、何個も。ここはいけないし、ここも空いてない。ここも空いてない。あ、なんか触っちゃった。電源落ちたなんか。やべえ、やっちゃった。これはあ、待って、あ、電源落とせる。あれ、さっきなんか向こうの部屋パソコンなかったっけ？電源落として回ろうぜ。全部落ちてっか。あ、あった。これだ、これ落とそう。ここにあるパソコンの電源落として回るぞ。でもなんか、417ってこれ戻ってない？あ、ここだ。おう。やってみるか。
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437。これやってみる？試しにじゃあ。このなんか今進んでそうな。これだ。
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
なんか嫌だぞ。なんか嫌な予感する。415。なんかさ、罠にかかってる感じしない？
Now, back to door number 437.
なんかめっちゃ罠にかかってる感じしない？嫌な予感する。437。
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
やばい、すーごいなんか、罠に引っかかってきてそっか。
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
419？ 419 どこ？俺の言った場所じゃないのか？そっか。戻ったぞ。あれ？電源落としちゃったから進まないとかある？
Yes, this is
あ、いたい
great.
た。
You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
数回クリック。
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again.
ああ。例のコピー。はいはい。あ、嫌にわかんない。操られてる。
Stanley, 5 clicks on door 430. Yes, we did it. Oh
なんか
wow.
実績解除した。
Well, amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
これで物事が進んでいくってことはまた。もう一回ってことなんだ、これ。ないか。5。なるほどね。めっちゃ遊ばれてるね。こっち行ってみようかな。手がある。進んでる？進んでる、ちゃんと。このゲームやる前にさ、現在時刻設定したんだけど、俺。ちゃんと夜の8時にしたんだけど、夜の8時にしたな。10時じゃなくて8時にしたな。そういや、まあいいや。 間せてミスター。10時じゃん。8時じゃない。左の方のドアに入りました。じゃあ右に行く？
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
こっち行くしかないのか。
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
これはあるわけじゃない。なるほど。次行くか。
Yes, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
最
left.
初の左のドアに入りました。ちちかな？
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite.
やべえ。正しいルートに戻されてる。お、よし。行ってたまるか。そんな簡単な方に。終わった。ゲーム終わったと思ったりして。
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
Oh.
So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
歌ってね。
from here, it's,
左？
left.
はい。開かない。開かない。ダメか。
Oh, no, it's
Was that-
my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute?
うざい。
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down...
右、左、下、左、右
right.
とさせ。
Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
なんでなのこれ。わあ、なにこれ。すげえ。
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a
Eh?
spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all
なんか
right.
一個ある変なのが。
The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
うわ、戻されちゃった。今の1個のエンディングなのかな？なるほど。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
落としたか。今のが1個のエンディングってこと？あれなんかさっきこんな表示だっけ？このパソコン俺気になるからさ、1個電源落としてよ。よし。いや、今回ちゃんとあれか会議室向かってみるか。
When Stanley... Wait, what?
あれ？
No, I restarted. I swear
Eh?
I definitely restarted the game over.
あれ？
Completely fresh. Everything should be...
もうなんか道が違う気がする。あれ？
Change. Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or...
え？
Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find out the story.
選択肢多すぎでは。待てよ、さっきここ行ったじゃん。どこ行こう。椅子邪魔なんだけど、これ普通に。いけないのかな？こっちなんか正解が臭くない？いや、一回左やって覚えよう。じゃあ、一番左行きます。椅子が邪魔だけど関係なかった。なるほど。あれ？待って、俺このゲーム嫌いかもしれない。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again,
は
but it's got to be better than this.
繋がってる
Okay,
ん
let's
だよ
give
ね。
it
な
a
るほど
shot.
ね。
Why not?
戻されたわ。ほう。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
なるほどね。あれでもさっきさ、あ、いや、あるわ、このパソコン。あれこのパソコン電源ついてなかったっけ？あれおかしくない？で、この先が、もう何？
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
うーん。
It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
あった。戻してくれ。ここもないしな。開いてないしな。ん？
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
見落としじゃねえよ。
Story. Here it comes.
このゲーム頭バグりそう。待って。おもろい。え？
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
明らかに上に変なものがあるんだけど。なんだこれ。また変わった。全然雰囲気違う。
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
す
I
げ
can't
え。
quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no. No,
違う違う
I
違
don't
う。
feel right
うざいうざいうざ
about
いうざい。
that. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time.
リスタートなんだ。
Restart.
今回はこっち向きじゃなかったよね。こっち向きじゃない？スタートが。
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line.
はい。
How simple is that?
わかりました。なんか右ルートじゃん。電源だけ落としていくわ。こちらのパソコン電源落としてない。なんか意味があるのかわかんないけど、とりあえずね、気になるからやった。あえて外れる。あえて外れてみる。どうなるんだろう、あえて外れたら。で、だからまたこの部屋戻ってさ、リスタート案件じゃない？
No, no, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
なんかいたらなんか起こりそうじゃない？何も起こんないのかな？何もないな。結局じゃあそのルートしかなくない？こっち行くしかないってこと？なんか新しい 4B 力、437と 4B 力が繋がってんのか？このゲームに謎解き要素かわかんないけど。ショートカットしていけない？
Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office,
え、このゲームおかしい。なんでそこと、今の場所とここは繋がってんの？おかしくない？だって、まっすぐ行きます。右に行きます。で、また右に行ってから、さっきの後ろに行ってるはずなんだよね。あれ？あ、曲流れ始めた。この曲大丈夫これ？これ曲大丈夫このゲーム？待って。曲大丈夫か？不安ではある。わかんない著作権。大丈夫？それが一番怖いわ。こっちか。え？ハテナじゃねえんだよ。曲いいって、あ、7まで来た、でも。6、0B4 とか来ちゃった。なるほど。やばい。え？待った。待った。何ここ？こっち行ってさ、あるルートさ、こっちのルート、は？えあ、待って、やばいやばいやばい。方向感覚失った。これ、来た場所こっちだわ。なんだこれ。ここと、ここと、ここと、ここは違う場所か。え？一緒か？正面がロッカー。一緒だ。こっち側あすごいこのゲーム。まあまあまあ。ルート通り。そうなってんだ。あ、これだってのが見えてんの。あ、面白え。これだ。見えたのが、こっち側の出っ張ってるこれだ。すげえ。無駄に遠回りした。あれ？違う。さっきのルートなくなった。あれ？なんか、俺が戻ってきたことによってさっきのルートなくなってない？ルート1個潰したからか知んないけど、ルートが消えた。あと。見ない。いるか。でもないよ、これ絶対。なんか帰ってたんだけど。
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
あれこれ、来た道だっけ？違う、こっちか。次のルート、もうわけわかんない。これは、ここに繋がるんだ。
How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore to help it. Restart.
リスタートなんだ。またこれ、あ、これのさ、忘れるんだ。
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious, all This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
あ、新しいルートが開いた。おう。なるほど。
Now, yes, this is exciting.
え、なんか
Just
その
me
これ。
and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our
これくる
story
くる
to
回っ
be?
て無限
Go
ループじゃない？
wild.
い
Use
や、も
your
ういいって言って言って言っ
imagination.
て、頭バグるって
Whatever
こ
it
んなことや
might
ってる
be,
と。
Stanley, I'm ready for it.
あ、見つながった。
Oh, no, not you
お、
again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the
すげえ
line
と
from
こから
having
出てき
any
た。
role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
このラインについていくしかないのかな、結局。あ、なんか、どっか行ったわ。お、新しい。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story
Hello?
is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
あ、
Okay.
逆に、
So
逆
I
に終わ
know
るか
that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the
な。
counter-inverted
別に回らなくてもいいんじゃ
reverse
ない？
door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes,
右のドアが
then
正
by
解
all
ね。はいはい。
accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
混乱エンド。
Oh, hold up, what's this?
え？
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
え？
Really how
今どこ
all
だ？
this goes? It's all determined?
これだ。混乱エンドスケ
So
見つけ
now,
た、これだ。
according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
あ、プツンってあった。
It can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
なになになに？
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So,
スタートするってこと？
okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of
右も左もカバンでねえか、今気づいたな、こ
I'm
れ。
not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey.
で、探してくれ
I。was saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do
あ、あ。え？リスタートした。怖っ。え、触らない。ただ。
all of his co-workers were gone.
え、
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
またできる。
Click a door 5
あれ？
times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
1からになったってこと？
No, I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20
いいよ、その実績
I
やっ
would
た
say
から。
that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
なんか、1個入った。なんか、ずーっと同じことやったからさ、1個だけ異常が起きたけど、何あれ？一番最初でもないな。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
今回
he
従
entered
ってみ
the
る？
door on his left.
従ってみよう、今回。 お、会議室ついちゃったよ。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
うん。
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
上
hoping
司
he
のオ
might
フィスに行
find
く
an
こと。
answer there.
うわ、なんかう
Coming
ざ。
to a staircase,
こ
Stanley
ういう
walked
ところで
upstairs
さ、
to
下
his
に行く選
boss's
択肢残して
office.
るのやばくない？いや、上に。真っ赤。真っ赤。気になる俺。見ようかな。わっ。見てほら。入っちゃうと戻れないかな。どうしよう。いやー、上行こうかな、今回。今回上行きたい。今回は上。下は次行く。閉まるよね。閉まんないんだ。あ、閉まっちゃった。上司のオフィス、上司ってか社長だろ、これも。
Stepping into his manager's office,
マネージャーがい
Stanley
い。
was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
合わせていいのかな？
Yet incredibly, by
ミスしまくってもよかったな。
buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct
お
code
お。
by sheer
どうなっ
luck.
た？
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
おう。こっちは何かあるわけではないんだ。繋がってるね。落ちるってことあ、違う、これ。エレベーターだったわ。落っこちるのかと思った。暗くなるとホラーゲームっぽいね。ロード入った。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in
あれ
his
なんか一回
chest,
こう来た
as though he
違う
felt
な。
more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
おう。
This question would not go unanswered for long.
パチンって言った。音いいな。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
エ
Facility.
スケープ左だけど待って。エスケープが正解じゃない？待って。マインドコントロールファクトリー。めっちゃエスケープ行きたい。こっち行きまーす。おう。こっち。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with
出た。
television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
あ、ファクトリーだった今の。エスケープじゃなかった？もう頭ぼーっとしてる俺。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's
ファシリティ
co-workers.
だった。
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where
なるほど。
freedom meant nothing.
ネタバラシ始まってないなんか。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
なるほど。
blind to the world?
お、なんか新しいとこ来た。
The heart of the
本当だ、ファシリティでよく見たら。
controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
解体するってこと？今からこれを。5。音が違う。あ、5以外もあるぞ、なんか。これはパン。1から押せってことかな。1、2、3。4は多分あの上でしょ？あれいけない。まだいけないのかな？暗すぎてマジで見えない。これ何？これどうやってんの？いけないっぽい。踏んでみるか。システムパワー。こんな簡単なボタンなきゃねえだろ。
He knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls.
お、押したら。
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes.
2分。
Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desire.
なるほど。あ、わかった。
This is much better than what I had in mind.
番号だ。
What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes.
でもさ、これ、
Precious moments each one of them is.
これを
Time to talk about
やるのもさ、
about me.
思惑通りじゃない？
What all this means, I barely know where to start.
なんでいっぱいこんなボタンがあるんだよ。
You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course,
どう押してみる
that
か。
was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I
こ
simply
れ初見でクリアできんの
in
か？
our office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
これ何も起こんねえじゃねえか。
I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I
あ、
let it
待って、よく見たらこれ10だ。
I have to say this though, this version of events
これも、
has
これ
been
も
rather
10だな。
amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost
1。
hate to see it.
あー、そういうこ
I'm
と？
sure whatever I come up with on the next go
これで進む？
around will be even better. My
いや、
goodness,
青の石だ、
only
探すのは。
34 seconds left. But I'm
あ、これ
enjoying
か。
this so much. You know what?
違
To
う
hell
っ
with it.
て。
I'm going to put some extra time
緑
on
色
the
のボタ
clock.
ン。
Why
これか
not?
な。
These are precious additional
あ、
seconds, Stanley.
扉閉まっちゃった。
Time doesn't grow on trees.
あれなんか時間伸びてない？
Dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
5って書いてあるよ、よく
You
見たら。
just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off. I mean, look
お、
at you.
進んだ？
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no,
いや、進んでないな。
colored ones, or maybe this big red
緑色のボタン
button,
ど
or
れだ？
this
これか？
door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten?
4。
One soul?
あ、こういうことか。
Do you have any idea
黄
what
色
your
押
purpose
し
in this
て
place、
あ、めっちゃおられてない。あ、
You're in for quite a disappointment.
黄色押して4ってこと？
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action
合ってる？
moving
あ、
along.
色変わったか。
It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for
あれ？
every moment that you're powerless.
変わってない。
See you made humble.
黄色4回？
It's not a
違う
challenge.
な。
It's a tragedy.
緑
You
の
wanted to
3。
control this world, that's fine.
おい、ないって。
Destroy it first, so
あ、
you
グッ
can't.
バイって書いてある。
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe
なる
me,
ほど。
I will be laughing at every
あ、画面揺れ
second
す
of
ぎ、
your
酔いそう。
inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
おー。で、1からでしょ？今のなんか正規ルート臭い
All
な。
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
どういうゲームなんだ？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this
右
was
行ってやろ
not the correct
う。
way
右
to
行
the
っても
meeting
変わんない
room,
もんね。
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
さっきのは混乱エンドで、最初か。最初のは混乱エンドで、多分、今さっきやったのが爆破エンドでしょ？
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions.
あれなんか新しいルート行っちゃった。
Years ago.
このルート何？
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
Oh,
gotten
what's
off
up?
on. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
なるほどね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
思
simply
っ
missed
た
a
んだけ
memo.
ど。あれなんか増えてるぞ。お。なんか、増えてね。
When Stanley came to a set of two
さっきの
open
もうちょい
doors,
先進んでみる
this
か。
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
て
perfectly
か、正規
well.
ルートどこだよ、これ。
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge
ラウン
first,
ジに立
just
ち
to
寄り
admire it. The lounge
で、
was sublime.
ボタン
A
差あるか
work
危
of
ないんだろ、普
art.
通に。
What was it about? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
左行った
first
こっ
open
ち側
door
か。
on
さ
his
っきやっ
left.
たよね。あ、まっすぐ行っちゃったからか。こっち行こう。
Stanley
この
was
ルー
so
ト
bad
さ
at、following
もうちょい見たく
directions,
ない。
it's incredible he wasn't
あ
fired
ワーニン
years
グが書いてあった、
ago.
よく見たら。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me
あ、
prove
カードがいるん
it
だ。
on
なるほ
your
ど。いや、カ
side.
ードなんかいるの
Give
か。
it a chance.
こ お 2B5。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
どっち選んでも変わんないパターンってことね。違うな。どうしようこれ。いやいや、青行くか。ひねくれよ。
Aha! Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
青だ、青だ。
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked
色に
through
青だ、あれやん
the
け。
red. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
お何ここ
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never
ホール
supposed to be here in the first place.
12.8.12。
Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all
ちゃ
for
んと、
nothing.
ちゃん
Because
と用意し
this
てんだ
is
な、
what
ここのエ
you
ンディン
wanted
グ
to
も。
see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
これどこに戻ったんだあれか、右左の扉で戻ったんか。これ。うわ、尺だな、これ行くの。右行くか。なんで繋がってんだよ。
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
俺から5に。
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from?
なんか1では
How
おも
did
ろくない
I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
何やってんのリーダーボード。これガチなやつガチなやつこれ。さすがに嘘。さすがに嘘。タイマーなんか用意しなくていいわ。お、さっきと違う。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helps
いらんい
you
らんいらん。
feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
え
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
あ、もう終わりですやつだ。
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
え何え
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
なんか始まったんだけど。
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower.
キモ
Perhaps
タ
for
ワーって
some
何？
sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's
あ、
venture
地図か、こ
outward
れな
and
んか
see
と思っ
what
た。
else is out there.
まあ、扉開くとマイクルじゃなかったよ、なんか。出たら負けな気がする。すごいなこれ。ここない？このゲームは一体何を作ったの？何？すげえ、待って、これ全部いけるの？
Oh no. No, 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 it can't be.
すげえ。
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
あ、封鎖された。
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. I nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any...
何作者オープンワールド嫌いなの？
Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
面白い、このゲーム。
Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
このゲーム知ってるぞ。
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any
俺サッカーボールで
possibility
言うな、これ
that
どう
you
せ
could。get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game,
何やってん
I
だ、このゲー
will
ム、本当
be
に。
phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
ボールできたらすげえ。だって足も速くなってない。あ。
Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
これ遠くなっちゃった。なんかある。電池だ。ランパのスパレジェ。あ。あ、書いてた。何ここ。ナレーターいなくなってね。すげえ。あ、明かりがある。入れない。427。427って最初の部屋じゃない？てか、あるわけではない。何の部屋なんだ、これ。何もなかった。でも、こっちしか道なくね？なんだ？なんだか
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
どういうこと？あ、ゲットしたわ。
Already this was uncomfortable.
あれ？
And Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
あ、なんか、ナレーターの言ってることおかしくなった。待って、これまだあれだ、終わってない。リセット食らってない、まだ。ナレーター動くなって言ったもんな。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
あ
entered
あ、
the
はい
door
はいはい
on
は
the
い。
left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
僕は
office.
下行ってやろう。閉まるのかな？
But Stanley
ああ、やっ
just
ぱ
didn't
閉ま
do
る
it.
わ。
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy,
あれなんか
why
ループしな
had
い？
he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
やはりルー
All
プ
of
して
my
ね？
co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any
あ、ルー
logical
プした。
sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him
確
wherever
か
he
に。
went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake
もう
up
すぐ目が覚める。リスタートか
go
な？
back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Eh?
Then he imagined
浮いてね？
himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley
え？
marveled
なにな
that
に
he'd still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself
浮くなら
sooner.
この、あれ、
Why
高さがあ
is
る
there
部屋
a
がいい。
voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by あれ Stanley.
なんか車の部屋どこ？
Particularly
車の部屋
strange.
なくなってない？
I'm dreaming about a voice
あったわ。
describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of
すげえ。
course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his
どういうこと？
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited
Ah.
himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be
これ
fine.
リスタートかな？
I am okay.
全然違った。あれ？なんか引き出し待ってる。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
おー。なるほどね。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
なんか始まったって。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked
え？
to her
なんか
place.
始まったって。
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
深いね。一個エンディング今の。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
あ、終わった。一個エンディングだ。
Go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
なるほ
missed
ど
a。memo.
あれでもなんか、パソコンの、いつものやつはなくない？なるほど。あれこんなルートだっけ？んこんなルートだっけ？こんなルートか。なんか久しぶりすぎてさ。こっちのルートやってみる？なんかギリギリでエスケープ行ってみる。なんか、結構やった気するんだけど。
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ここね、なんかね、部屋あんだよね。これ何？バスルが入ってる。モーニングザモーニング。いや、モーニングじゃない。白いトイレでした。違う？お、エレベーターある。ん？ なんやねん、これ。なんやねん、これ、本当に。本当なんやねん。これミスりまくってみない？
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
別にミスっても何もなそうじゃない？
45. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
教えてくれてる。いや、これ、いつもやってくれるんだろ
う。2845.
めっちゃ押してくれる。絶対やんない。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just itself.
勝手に開くんだよ。
Well, whoop-de-doo.
え？こっちか。出ました。だって今これじゃあ正解だと思うの。じゃあ。24か。結構。じゃあもう0からそこ。あれ？ 28、もういいや、わかんねえわ。2845か。いいじゃねえか、そこ。今正解しても何もなかったわ。なるほどね。そっか。飛んでるぞ。よし、行くぞ。今回は、エスケープ行ってみよう。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
ループしてる？
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
お、赤い、赤い、赤い。これ本当に死んで終わり？おう。わざとローされた。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence
なんか
whatsoever.
右出れそうじゃない？
Stanley can't see
出
the
ないかな？
bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss,
ええ装置で
like
す。
plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
はあ。終わっちゃった。
Farewell, Stanley, cried
Eh?
the narrator,
Eh?
as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated
ふふ
as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
えナレーター2号来てないなんか。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
え
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you
Don't
see now? Do you see that Stanley was
Okay, ga.
already dead from the moment he hit start?
オフィスレイアウト。廊下。あと、ガチのエンディングクレジットあるんだけど、ちょ、待って。んこれガチのエンディングかなんかボタンの音が。あ、引っ掛けのクレジット説もある。確かに。えうーん。えうーん。面白。なんかちょっと面白いね。これさ、フリーダムエンド。なんかでもさ、これってあれじゃない？さっきの2番目ぐらいにやったエンディングの自爆エンドのやつの答え書いてありそうじゃない？ラウンジ地下。
Stanley jumped in the river.
2年間のゲーム配信およそ3回に分けてゲーム全体の成功を録音しました。
Stanley stood on the snow. Stanley walked over the bridge.
ガチのエンディングん全部見たっけ？こっち見てないんだっけまだ。お。経年劣化がなんであるんだ？時系列があんの？わかんないな。不思議なゲームだな。これエンディングなんだ、そして。出口。オンオフがある。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
お、なんか書いてた。
Listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
これエンディングの1個か。なるほど。
All of his co-workers were gone.
これで1
Could
個
it
終わっ
mean?
た？
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ニューコンテンツ。
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
トロッコだ。
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial
何これ？
success, it was expanded
なんかアトラクション始まったんだけど、何これ？
with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
おう。
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
本当の話？
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await
そんなことないよ
in
ね。
the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tea.
めちゃくちゃいいじゃん。
It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
まだ始まってないのにめちゃくちゃボロクソに言ってんじゃん。
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle. ジャンプなんかさせられてますが。なんだこれ。今回従うか、珍しく。増えたりしねえよな。は？ Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more.
あ、こっちか。
Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game
あ、しました。
developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no
これリセットっぽいよね。
just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
あれあれなんか違う。なんか違う。あれあれ
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
なんか始まったんだけど、また新しい
Okay,
の。
you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't
なん
find
か
it.
始まったんだけど、ちょっと
Just
待って。
our little secret.
え
Take a look. I call it the memory
このゲーム
zone.
本当に頭おかしになるって。
Storing all my favorite
急になんか
memories
さ、
so I can relive the
ゲームのジャンルが変わるんだよね。
life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013? And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
ガチな
"Will so
話
many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
ああ、ガチな話臭いぞ、これ。
Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It
わか
was
んない。
Skyrim. It was Persona
ちょ、
3.
何言って待って。
And now
スタジオびっくりした今。
it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
あ、何メモリーゾーン。メンテナンス。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you
10点
get
中
it,
9点。
Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time
多いな、このゲーム、本当に。
collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
あ、扉開いた。いや、いけねえって。いなくね
These were simpler times, Stanley.
だから開い
I
てる。
wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
なんか進んだ。
Down here. Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
いやいや
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a
いいゲームだな。
closely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
めっちゃあるレビュー。あ、高評価逆ばってる、せっかくの。
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. But dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise
これレビュー集だろ、
track
チーム
record.
の。
I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
これどういうエンディングなんだろ
Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I
う。あ、
always
なんかラストかも、これが。
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip
キープボタンが欲しい。
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
ほう。何かあるわけではない。やっぱこれ確認したくなっちゃうわ。押したらリスタートな気するな。時間覚えとこ
And
う。
here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time.
どうすんだ？
You're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of
こ
my
れいつまで喋るんだろう、これ。あれでしょ？うるさいなと思ったらスキップボタン押すとこでしょ、これ要するに。
If I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by
なんで今のとこ字幕なかったの？わかんないって。
you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been?
何の話をしてんの？
Every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift
なんか読んでる
and
なん
yet
か。
timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45... Stanley, please don't push the button
もう
again.
12時間経ったんだ。
Hours.
あ、扉なかった。
Frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're
あ、
really
もう押せる。
getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh my goodness.
もう死にかけじゃん、慣れた。
Stanley, it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time.
ちょっとかわいそう。
Sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us.
お、TP 出した。あ、すげえ。木が枯れてる。
But they didn't
お、
understand
びっくりし
that
た。
a game was never meant to be
生
funny.
きてるの
It
か
had
い。
to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a
慣れた。
pathetic
二巡し
little
た
thumbs down review.
4か。あ、また静か。よくわかんねえな、このゲーム。
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
ナレーターバグってない。
Never the end, is 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 never.
お、雨漏りしてる。水なかったな、ここ。うわ、壊れちゃった。すげえ。お、光だ。その出口ができんのかな、これ。あ、そうだ。なるほど。あ、漏れちゃった。なんで？何の音？何の音だろう。わ、出口だ。枠ですね、こっち。もう押せないのかな。もう壊れちゃった。一歩ボタン。なにこれ。こういう時に太陽の方向に行ったらいいの。すごくない？あ、干上がっ、世界滅んだ。滅亡しちゃった。世界滅亡エンドだった。あ。終わった。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
一個のエンディングっ
Stanley
ぽい
decided
な
to go
ぁ。
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ここは、進んでないのか。何？ニューコンテンツが追加された。
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
なんだこれ、ニューコンテンツ。ニューコン、
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
2になったんだけど。しかもなんか実際2になったらありそうなデザインになってるし、なんかすげえ。
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a
オフィスもさ、ハイテクになってんじゃん。ウォーターステージ、ロッカーも綺麗だし。
It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been
めたいめたい。
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Okay.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
こっち行く?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem of the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
バケツ持てるんだ。
The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
もうバケツいらないけど。
The bucket seemed to go on and on, didn't
いるかこの分岐。
all this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
お前2になってバケツ持てるだけじゃねえか、ほんとに。持っていかしてくれんのこれ待って。できる？バケツ作れました。
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
元気になるよ。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
俺が選んでない方が選ばれた日。
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
あ、待って。ジャンプサークルある。
Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
使い切ったってこと。
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
あれでもジャンプ使い切ったって前世の話じゃないの？もうジャンプできないんだ、俺じゃ。That's new. なんかいっぱいあんな。 フリーニューイージーアチーブメント。アチーブメントって実績だっけ？エピローグ？
An epilogue would be
いらないいらないいらないいらない。
Stanley. Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the well, we'll figure that out later. For the
Name.
Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be
ボタンのサイズ？
universally recognized and validated as
バケツ邪魔なんだけど、何よこ
So
れ。
with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
ああ。
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim.
なんでジムになったら俺はジムになるじゃん。
Experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you... Jim. Whoa, hold on. I must finish setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. All right, fine. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
だからわけわかんねえボタン作っちゃったんだろう。本当に。じゃあバケツ邪魔なんだけど。
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They
待ってる
will
じゃん。
appreciate what I've created here.
から来たでしょ？無限の穴？か。あ、出口あるじゃん。ああ、まあ、出れなそうだな。出口こっち。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much
なん
catchier
か普通に
than
遊んじゃった。
Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe.
これあれだな、遊ばず即出たら悲しいんだろうかな。
Goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the collectibles exhibit. You see, there is a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the collectibles. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the collectibles.
Yo?
Okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
お邪魔しないらしい。行ってくるわ。
No? You're just going to ignore my advice? Fine. No fun new content for you then.
めたいめたいめたい。
Spent money on this game. So Stanley, what do you think?
あ、何もないんだ。
Features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game.
何もないんだ。
I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, yes, this is
こいつね、このちっちゃい空間でゲームを作ってんの？
Here we go. Version...
バージョン3だろ、も
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all.
めっちゃポンコツやん。
Gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and
おい、元に戻ってんじゃねえか。
insert a few of my new features into it, tastefully, of course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
なんか2になったんだけど、赤いし、画面。で俺終わろうかなと思ったらすげえ気になる画面になっちゃった。一瞬始めていい？画面赤いの？え、これ1から？なんか風船あるけど。風船置いただけじゃねえかよ。ああ。だけど皆さんね、今日のとこ終わっときましょう。では、お疲れ様です。結構おもろかった、このゲーム。お疲れーす。おつー。